Welcome to the Queens on Decks, where I interview female DJs from around the world. I am Michelle Miller, your host of the Royal Queens Rising podcast. We share our inspiring stories and secrets to our success.
Hello, welcome to the Queens on Deck show. I'm DJ RunDat, and I interview female DJs from around the world. Today, I have a very special guest, DJ Donna Lovejoy. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you. I'm so excited to connect with you and learn more about you. And I feel like this interview is really at perfect timing because you not only DJ, you do more than DJing, and you connect wellness with DJing. And that's something I'm also very passionate about. And it couldn't be more of an important time during this global pandemic to really focus on our health. I mean, it's priority. Number one for me. And so I can't wait to dive into all of this. So let's start by you just starting out by telling us a little bit about how you got into DJing first off.
Sure. Well, I went to like a lot of raves and stuff like that, like when I was a teenager, just really interested in that underground kind of urban lifestyle. And one of my brothers started to get into DJing, and being like that little sister who copies the big brother, I got into it as well. Turns out I'm better than he is. And I've actually made a career of it. But then I just started DJing at clubs around Hamilton, just like supporting bands, like playing in between like acts and stuff like that. And then started to actually throw dance parties, and that segued into doing weddings, which I was really reluctant to do at first because I was like, I don't want to be a wedding DJ, that sucks. But then being part of somebody's wedding is such an honor and such a privilege. And I have like really awesome clients. And then there's like a really awesome scene in Hamilton where I live. And I took a bit of time off when I had my son, but then that was it. So I've been DJing for almost 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Long time.
It's really cool. So I'm curious about, because I also do like a lot of DJing opening up for concerts in my area. And I'm kind of curious how you got the in for doing that.
You know what? The thing about Hamilton, Ontario, is that it is such a small but awesome little like music city. And so if you just talk to venue owners and get to know them, then they're really supportive. And being a female definitely worked in my favor, because certainly back then there were not really any female DJs in the city, or not very many that were actually playing out anywhere. So yeah, just knowing people and getting to know the people in the community, and just, it really wasn't hard. It kind of like just happened.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I kind of feel like, if you have the love and the passion for it, you just start doing it, like things come your way.
Absolutely.
I did some early raving like 20 plus years ago in Oakland, California.
Thank God there wasn't social media back then. Oh boy.
Well, I remember this one particular rave. So we had an all-age venue in my town, Petaluma, and I remember when raving was fairly new, 20 plus years ago, and we tried to have some raves there, and I remember being the only one dancing.
Really?
Like it was small. It wasn't big yet, but the ones in Oakland were massive, and they were pretty underground in Treasure Island and all of that. So yeah, it's interesting to like reflect back on that for me. I didn't get too heavy into it, but like those were some of the first DJs that I got to kind of roll with and have those experiences with, because I think I was automatically just drawn to people that love music like I do, and we're attending shows and musicians and DJs, and it all plays a part of the story of how I started.
I just like people just hanging out together and dancing together, and there really wasn't any attitude or anything. It just like real serious bonding going on. I don't really know many people from that era anymore, like of my life. Some people I still keep in touch with, but really it was like massive, like peace, love, unity, and respect, like that PLUR acronym. Like it really was that. It was pretty special and very underground. It was good.
Yeah.
Very formative.
Yeah, underground music scenes are awesome. That's one thing I loved about dance hall and reggae when it was like first coming out before it hit mainstream. Was like it's such a special thing.
It really is. And that's the truth with any underground, anything, right? As soon as it hits mainstream, it kind of loses its like the specialness of it. But I mean, that's also just the cycle of things, right? They
Yeah.
gain popularity and that's what happens. So whatever.
So you have a big vinyl collection, I've learned.
Yes.
Yeah. So how long have you been collecting vinyl? 20 years? Longer? Your whole life?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely had records as a little kid and stuff. My mom had vinyl. One of the records that I always remember admiring the most was Cat Stevens, Tea for the Tillerman. And I love that record still, like the actual music on it, but also the album artwork is just so beautiful and nostalgic for me. And I've been collecting records. I've never stopped collecting records, even though now I do DJ like using digital format and vinyl. I still love when I can just do a vinyl set. I still do collect records. So yeah, it's fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So when you first decided to kind of like make money doing it, like what was that like?
Well, it was really weird. I was like, people are gonna like pay, especially when weddings. It was really weddings. I was like, I don't even know how to price a wedding. I have no idea. And I think I was pregnant when I did my very first wedding too. And I was just like, I checked with the couple. I was like, I'm pregnant. I don't know. Like, if you still want me to DJ, like, I was just like, how would you feel about having a pregnant DJ? It was a friend's sister. So, I mean, they were very cool and they were so lovely. And I did it it was just a vinyl wedding too. That was definitely hard to do, but I didn't know any different back then. But yeah, just kind of like knowing how to just doing something for money that I love so much is a little bit of like a strange thing. Like I know that what I do is special, like what all the DJs do. If you're good at it and you're passionate about it, it is a specialized skill for sure. Having to like navigate all the different like guests and clients and all that kind of thing can be pretty tricky. So it is definitely business, like it's part business, but then it's also part pleasure. Sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, like after a long wedding, it's just like, okay, that was really exhausting. Like it feels like work. But then other gigs, I'm like, no, it didn't feel like work at all. Like 6 hours just flew by. Yeah. It's so wild. But yeah, it was a bit of a mind shift to actually understand charging money for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been for me an ongoing process of, I really teach and preach valuing your worth and really counting for all the time put in, not just the time you're there playing, the prep and all of it. And when you're doing it for friends, like I say every year, no more friends deals. And then I give a deal because
I know.
oh no, but they can be so much fun. And I really truly believe now at this point, I've been DJing for 11 years and I don't know how long I've been doing weddings for quite a while now. And I really believe I'm starting to attract these real ideal clients that are really fun and, I can really relate to and really vibe with, because that whole your vibe attracts your tribe. I believe it's true. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I never do the weddings that are like banquet hall, cookie cutter style weddings. Like that's just not the kind of clients I attract.
Yeah.
But it is such a special honor though to be part of somebody's like celebration, right? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I almost feel like with majority of like more private gigs afterwards, I feel like family. Like you get to know them, you're part of their big celebration, and
yeah, absolutely. But like with friends stuff, I don't really like to DJ for friends parties or I'm like, I want to come and hang out. I don't want to work because it is still work, right? I think that's what some people don't always realize is that it is actually work. And for me to come and bring my gear, then I'm like working essentially. And it's, I love DJing, but I also just love hanging out with my friends because I'm DJing all the time. So I don't want to DJ when I'm hanging out with my buds.
yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So yeah, I don't want to do friend stuff anymore.
Yeah, or bring an assistant.
Yeah, sure.
You're like, I'll play an hour, they will play the other 6.
Exactly.
So what has it been like for you during COVID as a DJ?
Well, it was a big shock, obviously, to suddenly, like, I had like a full calendar. 2020 was like full. It was going to be fantastic. So many weddings, so many events, all like these events that I do year after year, like vintage marketplace events and things that I've come to rely on because they're just so much fun, right? And excellent income. So it was quite a shock to the system. I think I was grieving for sure for a while because it is such a huge part of my life and the things that I do. And but also like understanding that it was an opportunity to take a break and to just chill, which I don't do very well. Like I like being busy and I like doing stuff. And so to have like this forced rest was really strange. And just trying to actually reschedule everybody for the coming years. And like suddenly everything was up in the air and it was really hard. I did not get into the virtual DJing right away. I took a little bit of time, like did some Instagram stuff, like Instagram Live, but that stuff got shut down pretty fast because of like the royalty deals. But then I did get on Zoom to do Mixcloud. Like the Mixcloud Lives, and that's been super fun. And I was doing a bi-weekly bedroom dancing event with a couple of friends in Hamilton where we would have Zoom just for like the party room, and then I would DJ on Mixcloud, and it was so much fun. It was Monday nights from 8 until 9 just for an hour, and it was such a treat. And I just DJed from my basement. Like I had to reset up my basement to be more like an actual studio then, because when I'm working regular gigs, my turntables are like getting packed up and unpacked and packed up. Like I didn't really have a proper studio space, I guess. But now I have like a comfy studio space. I'm like really enjoying DJing from home. Although I did over the summertime do some live gigs on patios, that kind of thing. I've actually done a couple of weddings. Recently, I have one coming up this weekend. It's 15 people, believe it or not, 15.
Wow.
Going to be so intimate,
Yeah.
but you know, it still will be fun. So I've actually been pretty active with the DJing still, but things that I enjoy more. Like I think I'm playing more music that's like of like my own taste and like the stuff that I really love instead of just catering to my clients' tastes.
Mm.
So that's been really nice.
Wow. Yeah, I resonate so much with everything you just said. Like all of that. Like the grieving part is real and legit. And I don't know if everybody realizes all the different types of grief because it's something that I recently have learned more about in the last couple of years as I dove deeper into grief and actually went to a grief retreat and did group grief ritual. And that, grief isn't just somebody dying. It's like your life drastically changing right in front of you, or, the way things used to be, or there's so many forms of it. So it's important to talk about it. And, we are experiencing this, a lot of us together, and like, what can we do? And that's another reason why I still interview people and have turned this into an audio podcast. I've been interviewing for over 2 years, is that we're in this together. Let's share our stories. Let's connect. Let's get some ideas, some inspiration. Like, how are we going to stay in action? It kind of breaks my heart to hear DJs that are like, throwing in the towel. They're like, we're done. We can't do this anymore, And the one tip I was just telling people was like, if you don't feel like DJing, that's like okay, but just turn your music up. Like, just keep the music playing.
Totally. And check out other DJs. Like that's something that I've done a lot more of lately is just going on Mixcloud and seeing like other DJs playing live and just like seeing and hearing other DJs. Cause when you're in full work mode, or when I barely have time to go out and hear other music. So that's a great source of inspiration, is to just go see and hear other people.
Yeah, absolutely. We were joking because I'm RunDat. I love to run around, and my husband, who's also a DJ, we were joking. My new name was Rest Dat because I'm learning the art of stillness and how to be still to receive, because that's something I'm reading in one of my books right now. It's You Are the Guru, You Are Your Guru, and she's talking about in stillness you receive. And my own business coach was telling us, like, before this all happened, that we needed to slow it down to speed it up, and it's getting more intimate with ourselves and what we want and more connected to that, instead of all the running around and doing. Like there's been this whole shift of like practicing more who you're being And so it's been interesting because you feel like you need to be doing stuff, or you should, or you could, I could be doing more. And I'm just reminding myself, Michelle, you do enough. Give yourself
Yeah.
grace. You're homeschooling 2 children. Like,
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
just,
yeah. Oh, it's like the curse of productivity. It's like if we're not being productive, then we're wasting time. And that's something that I definitely have to check myself on a lot because I have that mentality. I am a doer. I like to work, I like to do stuff. And so to actually just remind myself that it's taking a rest is actually very productive because I have to be able to have resources in order to do other things. So to never look at it as being lazy or wasting time is sitting on Instagram and like losing a half an hour without realizing, scrolling through dumb shit. That's a waste of time. But resting and reading a book or listening to tunes, that's not watching TV, that's not a waste. Like the opportunity to do other things has been kind of a silver lining of COVID, just in the sense that like I've always had this. So I'm a holistic nutritionist, and always wanted to work with musicians and performers because I'm also a runner. And I know that like there's a lot of similarities between athletes and musicians, like it just in the performance sense. And so that actually COVID gave me time to actually put effort into building that business, which is Rock Steady Holistic Nutrition, which has been really awesome. And yeah, so that was definitely a silver lining because there's no way I would have had time to do that had I still been DJing full time. So
right.
yeah, all these
Yeah.
silver linings.
Absolutely. Well, I love that because last year at this time I was training for my first ever 10K, and
Ah,
and I knew exercise had been like the missing link. I was always like, well, dancing's my exercise, and I have a 2-story house, so I walk up these stairs like all day long and like but so running had been a challenge, but like so good for me, and I actually just started picking it up this last week. So let's talk a little bit about like more about your holistic healing. And I do my acupuncture, I get my massages, my foot reflexology. I
wow, you're
take
into all of the things.
all the things because DJing is a lot of work. Being a mom is a lot of work, and
Yeah.
there's nothing better for me than after a gig going and getting a foot massage like at nine
Oh, I
o'clock at
bet.
night or the
Oh
next
yeah.
morning. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally get it. Like for me, it is making sure that like I'm properly nourished, especially with the running. Like I run marathons. I actually qualified for Boston this year. And obviously it was canceled. So I did Boston in my hometown with some other runners, but still like so I take my running as seriously as I take my DJ nutrition, right? Like I treat my DJing like I'm running a marathon basically because I want to DJ for a long time and it's a really long nights and doing weddings and stuff. The food is always like really rich and really like heavy and there's a lot of it and like there's that tendency to just like eat whatever is in front of you obviously, but so for certain gigs I'll actually like bring a little crock pot with me and like have it plugged in. It's just like a little mini guy and have like a nice warm hot bowl of soup or chili or whatever, right? It's because I know that that is like actually way more nourishing for me personally than like just any other quick grabs that I can pick up on along my way. um, but just also with the holistic thing, there's like the rest factor, like just balancing things out. So it's not only just about food, but it's also just about how, like, my confidence and doing affirmations. I'm big on affirmations. Like the way I talk to myself is like a pretty big deal. So I'll give myself pep talks in the mirror before a gig, especially if it's one that I'm like just feeling a little nervous about. I'll like actually just like talk to myself and just like I repeat all these affirmations to myself. I look myself in the eye and I like repeat these affirmations. And then also deep breathing is like a huge thing. You can control your or like you can have a pretty big impact on your nervous system. Like when you actually breathe deeply, like into your belly, Ooh, breathing. It's such a gift. Oh my gosh. I mean, we just do it, but to like really do it intentionally can really like calm things down. Like it calms down your heart rate and all of that. And so this is all of the things that I promote in my program that I have for musicians is just like drinking enough water, because we definitely don't drink enough water when we're DJing, or we'll drink lots of other things and maybe rely a little bit too much on caffeine or maybe alcohol. And there's like almost like a trap of like wanting to, or not wanting to, but being pressured into drinking. Maybe you don't drink or something like that, like you don't know what people's stories are. So yeah, I just think that taking like a full body, a full life approach to DJing and music is very similar to athletes, which is kind of like what my theme is in my holistic nutrition. So taking rests, fuel yourself as best you can, but also don't sweat it all the time.
I love all of that. And it's like, it's a forever, goal. It's like, I have a rule, never say no when someone offers you water.
Yeah, totally. Always say yes. That is a brilliant rule. That's a great rule.
And then I have a new morning ritual that I've been working on where it's wake up, and when you sit up, you start with stretching your neck, and
Yeah,
then you drink water, and you do
yeah,
this before you even get up. And I keep gallons of water all around different places by the
yeah,
bed and all around, so I can
yeah,
refill my cup, or if I have to just drink straight out of the gallon. And then when I stand up, I stretch down and bend down until I can touch the ground.
yes,
And that simple one is just the one I try to do every day. And then depending on what's going on, I try to listen to a morning meditation.
yeah.
Today I went extra. I did a podcast, a positive like podcast, spiritual podcast, and then I did like an Abraham Hicks.
Oh, nice.
Everything is always working out for me. I did that while I put my makeup on because I knew I was going to be on camera today. So I like to put my makeup on when I do videos. And I made a nice salad, and like all the things. I have a goal to run a mile today, and it really, really helps.
Oh my God. Well, yes, I get up really early in the mornings and I go for a run. Outside doesn't really matter what the weather is, so long as it's not like unsafe surfaces like icy and stuff like that. But if it's -20, I still throw on my running gear and I go for a run, because that is like meditation for me. And I don't listen to music when I'm running, oddly. Like you would think a DJ would probably always want to have music playing, but I actually need silence. I don't know if you feel the same, but I really need silence sometimes. But getting in that physical activity every day, whether it's running or cycling, and I also do Pilates and yoga blend type stuff. I did a teacher training for that last year. And so I do those practices every day. I have to move my body in one way or another. And it just helps so much with my mental state, just everything. It's just, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Moving is very important. However you like to move, it's important.
yeah, I'm learning more about getting embodied, getting in your body, and
Ah,
more
oh my God. Doing like the teacher training through the studio in Hamilton called Good Body Feel was revolutionary for me. They're very much about like breaking down boundaries. Yeah, like they have like the LGBTQ support. They are all about BIPOC support. They are all about just advocacy and standing up for yourself and like your own empowerment. It is incredible. I had no idea how unaware I was until I did this training. And now I'm like a lot just more aware of how I hold my body, the things that I say. Like it's like full body awareness. It's great.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what's coming up next for you? Do you have any virtual events? Are you doing any holiday parties?
I am doing, let's see, this weekend I have like an actual wedding, and then I'm doing a Zoom wedding party kind of thing, just like a Friday night party before their little private ceremony. What else? I can't remember. Oh, I'm actually doing, I'm DJing R&B Pilates through the studio that I did my teacher training, Good Body Feel. They have been doing this R&B Pilates forever, and it's just the best. I've DJed it before, so it'll be like Aaliyah and like Erica Badu and Anderson .Paak and all kinds of like awesome R&B. So I'm doing that at the end of the month, which should be very exciting, and it'll be like a Zoom offering as well. But yeah, that's always super fun. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't do New Year's, just like as a general rule, because I like to chill on New Year's.
Awesome. That sounds so cool. The R&B's Pilates. Like, is there Can I go?
Yeah, if you're, I'll send you the link to it. It's so good, and she does this thing. Robin Lacambra is the owner of Good Body Feel. You should definitely check her out. She's amazing. But she does this thing called scream squats. Oh, Michelle, do you scream ever? Because screaming is the best medicine. She does this thing where like she kind of just like amps everybody up, and then near the end of the class we are squatting, and then every time we come up we scream. And the first time I did it, I bawled my eyes out. It was such an emotional release, and to do it in a room with all these other people, it was like I get goosebumps even just thinking about how impactful it was. And yeah, so people do this now at their homes, like just screaming. It's like scream therapy. It's a thing. I think that people need to scream more.
I feel that because I've had moments where I've wanted to maybe like get on, say, like a virtual call with friends and be like, let's scream together. Like, I don't know why I want to
Wow.
scream together. So that sounds perfect. I haven't done it, but one thing I did experience recently was I think it was a bit of like laughter yoga or facial yoga or something where we said wow 10 times. So wow, 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 wow. And it like literally like does a thing.
Oh my God.
Releases some stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, it's so good. Just like having those moments of release are so important. Otherwise, you get all balled up inside, and that's just not good.
right.
Not
So
good.
if you're down, I've been wanting to explore a little bit more of the deep breathing and
Ah.
like a very simple technique maybe you could share with us.
Oh, sure. I mean, really, just the most simple one, I guess, is to just like close your eyes or like a soft, gentle gaze, and then just inhaling in and letting your inhale travel all the way up to the top of your skull. And then when you exhale, relax all the muscles in your face, letting your shoulders drop. And inhaling, notice that on an inhale, things expand. And when you exhale, everything contracts. And just going through those motions of inhaling, feeling the expansion, and exhaling, things release and lower. And when you inhale, sip in just a little more breath. And then when you exhale, sigh it out through your lips. And then doing one more inhale just to round it out. And sigh it out.
Awesome. Thank you.
But it's the sign, it's like the sign it out, like, ah, it feels so good. So,
Right.
yeah.
Practice that.
Yeah, do it. Ah, feels good.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's funny because I read something on Instagram earlier. I think it was maybe Brendan Burchard, but or some high performer coach or something, and it was saying like the 10 things in the morning. It might have been Jim Quick, but anyways, it was like the last one was about the deep breaths and doing the deep breathing every morning. And I'm such a shallow breather, and I've been to Kundalini Women's Camp before, and I'm like learning how to breathe, and I listen to meditations, and it's something I'm always like learning more about. But the breathing, and I also love to sing, but I can't figure out how to like breathe through my diaphragm.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes it's like doing pelvic tilts to like get your core in like a good spot. But just to like give you just like one more little tidbit about the breathing though, when I was 6 years old, I exploded in psoriasis. Tons of stress going on in my life. My parents were freaking out, fighting all the time, super stressed out. My mom took me to see a Taoist breathing technique teacher or like a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. And this practitioner suggested these Taoist breathing techniques. And that was the thing that cleared up my psoriasis, doing these Taoist breathing exercises. I carry that book around with me still to this day. And it is like such an excellent stress release for me. So breathing, deep breathing, learn
Yeah.
how to breathe into your belly, let your belly expand.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
That's the best.
That's another one I remind people. Like I'll remind people like on social media, I'll be like, don't forget to drink water, don't forget to,
Yeah.
eat your veggies, and don't forget to breathe.
Don't forget to breathe. Seriously, watch a baby sleep. Babies breathe right into their bellies, and like that's, they're relaxed mostly, Yeah. Breathe into your belly. Let it hang out and breathe into it.
Yeah, I noticed I was doing a little live the other day, and I noticed like when I watched it again, it was like I felt like you could notice I was like out of breath.
Yeah.
Was talking and change of seasons here in Northern California. Like I feel different some days, just like environmentally. Like the rain will come, and like today it's mid 60s, and then the rain or cold will come, and I feel just your body. You pay attention to it, listen to your body, and like when my breath was shortness of breath, I'm like, what is that? So maybe some throat coat tea or some sort of like more
Yeah.
herbs or go maybe start running. I started running, move your body, something.
Yeah. Just close your eyes and pause for a minute and just like drop down into your body and just like inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Breathe in. Was it smell the flowers, blow out the candles?
I like the breathe in the blessings and breathe out the stressings too.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one too.
It's stressful times. I mean,
Yeah, for real.
practicing the be here now and
Yeah.
a lot of gratitude. A lot of
Yeah.
gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, well, before we wrap it up, like, what advice would you have for anybody that's maybe just getting started, or maybe they don't have any self-care routine, or like the
Yeah.
self-care I feel has become more popular in the last few years. Like, I don't think I really knew that word when I first became a mom.
No, I don't think so either. Um, I think that really just like give yourself a bit of time to do something that you really love to do and don't feel bad about it. Just allow yourself little bits of time, even if it like whatever it happens to be. Like your single secret behavior, right? Like the things you do, like when you're totally alone, just kind of like dip into that. But also throw on a really good song that you totally love and just let loose in your home, wherever you are. That is like one of the greatest bits of medicine is to just crank up the tunes and just dance. So anyone who's like not sure about taking care of themselves, like you just got to let loose, shake it off. That's my Otherwise, drink lots of water and breathe.
I love all of that. Yeah, actually, okay, so I'm gonna take that advice.
Yeah.
Something I've been thinking about, and it's come up in conversation a few times recently of just the random music break, dance break, get your energy up, your vibes up, all of that. They talk about like before in the coaching world, before getting like on a sales call, like dance around, jump around, like even for the interviews, get your energy up. Like you might not
Totally.
feel at the level energetically that you want to be. So there are tricks. I love that you talked about affirmations earlier. I was joking this week. I was in acupuncture and I had a new affirmation come to me, and it was "I am Beyonce," and
That is a very good affirmation.
and it was a download. It like came to me, and like before when I was gigging, if I didn't feel energetically like amped up enough or whatnot, I would tell myself, "Put your Beyonce face on. Let's go, girl. Like you
Yeah.
got this." Those pep
Yeah.
talks, they're powerful. And so affirmations were a theme this last week for me. I even posted about it on Instagram and stuff. So I love
Mhm.
that you were talking about that earlier
Oh,
too.
I just think they're so important. I mean, we talk to ourselves all the time, but it's not often like nice things, right? And so to actually like I think the trick is looking yourself in the eye, in the mirror, and like really talking to yourself as though you're talking to somebody else, right? Like your child or like a best friend who's having a hard time or whatever, who just needs some uplifting. Talk to yourself like you're talking to them. And it's just very powerful. It doesn't have to be like, I am awesome. It's not like Stuart Smalley or whatever, like SNL's old school skit, like people like me. It's not like that kind of thing. It's just like I am a valued human being. I am good at what I do. People like what I do because I'm good at it and I put my energy into it. Like you can really big yourself up. Like I work hard and
Yeah.
people understand that. So anyways, yeah, affirmations I think are really cool.
Yes, yes, I love it.
Mhm.
So how can we find you online, and how can we best support you?
Well, on Instagram, I am DJ Donna Lovejoy. Also Rocksteady CMP. And then let's see what else. Just on Facebook, same deal. It's all pretty simple. DJ Donna Lovejoy, Rocksteady CMP. That's how you find me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show.
For having me, Michelle. It's a real pleasure. I enjoy all of your content that you post on the socials. It's very good stuff. I like it. So thank you.
I appreciate that. And thank you everyone for tuning in.
I wanted to thank everybody for tuning into the Royal Queens Rising podcast. All of my amazing guests and all of the subscribers, thank you so much for being a part of this. If you would like to be a guest or you know somebody that should be featured, please send them my way. You can reach me on my website, www.djrundat.com.